With a new video for the channel. I hope you like it. And if you like it, don't forget to leave your powerful like Supreme God level, comment, and subscribe. Now without further ado, get comfortable. Let's begin. In the confines of all that exists, two beings of great powers were fighting in a battle to the death. These two powerful deities were the creator god Saikibura and his evil counterpart, the very negative creator god Yiki. Both subjects were having a very intense battle, which was destroying stars and galaxies. In that instant, Saikibura was able to have a vision. A powerful warrior, which mixed the two most powerful genetics of all the multiverses, were in the same individual name, Kakarot. Today I'll die, but I'll take you with me, brother. I won't let you do any damage until the Chosen One finishes you permanently.
What the hell are you saying? We're creator gods. There's no being that can face us.
Saikibura in that instant had separated 80% of his power, which a part of it would be sent to a dragon god named Zamara, and the other 40% to a Saiyan god, Saikibura, in that instant would embrace Yiki and perform a sacrifice technique, which did not require ki exactly. The price was much higher. The price to pay was his soul would disappear completely, not being part of hell or paradise. It was as if he had never existed. Millions of years had passed since that event, in which all the energy would continue to travel throughout the infinite universe. Nevertheless, Zarma had used a little of that power to rebuild the entire multiverse. However, 100 years later, the Chosen One was born. That is, at that moment, both energies had left the creator god, had entered, which came from the powerful god Zarma and the powerful legendary Ozaru. That's right, at that moment, a little boy named Kakarot would shake all the 12 universes. However, mortals were not able to feel his power. The only ones who were able to feel it were the angels and the beings of the kingdom of everything, since his power even surpassed the power of a destructive god.
Whose power is all this? I can't believe that a warrior with all this power exists. We've not noticed his presence. My lord, the power of this guy is so great that he would be able to end the lives of his guardians. Only you in your combat form and I are rivals.
I know that, Daishinken, so let's investigate who this power's about. Ask for reinforcements to all the angels and gods. We don't know who it is about.
Angels, go to planet 703 of the Universe 7, better known as the planet of the Saiyans. We don't know that individual gives off so much power.
All would leave towards the Universe 7, taking a matter of minutes to be a maximum alert. At that moment of arrival, the kings of everything would go to the place where such power was emanated. However, they were a little confused to observe a baby. However, next to the baby was a Saiyan. Daishinken quickly would be on guard because the power that was felt was incredible.
Who are you? And how do you have all that little battle power?
What are you talking about? I don't understand you at all. We have noticed the incredible power you've unleashed, so you better cooperate. Since we're here with all the gods, you don't stand a chance.
I'm not lying to you. I don't know what you're talking about.
Daishinken at that moment, without trusting himself at a great speed, would give a blow to Bardock, who would fall out of combat. Daishinken would be very confused of everything that happened. However, at that moment, all the 12 universes began to shake brutally. That's right, the baby boy who was in the incubator had moved a little, and by not controlling his power, even the entire Saiyan planet was involved in a great chaos. Daishinken at that moment would realize that the true bearer of all that power would be the little boy.
I can't believe this. Is that little child the being that's releasing such abominable power?
We will finish with that little child, because if just being a baby releases so much power, that child will be the annihilation of the entire multiverse.
Both guardians would throw themselves against the incubator machine of the little Kakarot. Nevertheless, in that same instant, a surprising pressure would fall all over the place. That's right, in that same instant, a gigantic Ozaru of a silver color would appear. It It would seem to be able to be observed from all the universes due to its bestial size. In that moment, it would begin to speak, leaving all those present surprised.
If you take one more step, I swear that I'll finish with each one of you. And now that you finish with the life of my bearer, you'll be the salvation of this small multiverse.
All the divine beings had been surprised when they realized that the beast had spoken. However, the Guardians, without caring anything of what the Ozaru said, likewise began their attack. But it was the worst mistake they could make, because at that moment the Ozaru, at an incredible speed, would teleport behind each of them, and from its mouth would create spheres of energy, leaving no trace of both of them.
Does anyone else want to be eliminated? What are you supposed to be?
And how is it that all that power can be in the body of that little Saiyan boy?
I understand that you are the king of everything, but that's none of your business. You better leave this planet if you don't want me to finish you all off.
I won't let you treat me like this. I'm the king of everything, and I deserve respect. Let me see what you think of this damn beast. Zeno at that moment would begin to increase all his power, being able to surpass to his combat form. That's right, the powerful king of everything, Zeno-sama, was able to transform, and in the same way he would throw himself against the immense Ozaru. However, he would be surprised to hit him with all his strength, and only have been able to move a little the snout of the giant Ozaru.
Is that all you can do? Don't make me laugh. Oh, I thought the king of everything was a being of power, hard to reach, but you're nothing more than a poor worm.
The Ozaru at that moment would give him a powerful blow with one of his hands, making the king of everything return to his normal state. That's right, that beast was able to make the king lose his combat mode with a single blow.
I didn't end your pathetic life, because if a king of everything dies, the whole multiverse will die with him. So for that simple fact, I'll let you live. But if you threaten me again, I'll end this multiverse myself.
We understand that you have great power, but please, tell us what is that you're looking for in this multiverse? Knowing so much about multiverses, you must know that this is one of the weakest multiverses of all.
That's right. I know it's one of the weakest of all, but first, I need to recover all my power so I can save you all.
We're sorry for the offense we have put you through today, so we'll be leaving.
Wait a minute. I can see that you are really not have bad intentions. You only wanted to protect your multiverse, so I'll revive your guards.
In that instant, from the body of the little Kakarot would emerge a part of Zarma, which would make his eyes shine, bringing back to life both Guardians.
That will be all I will do for you on this occasion.
At that moment, the Ozaru as well as Zarma would disappear. At the same moment, Daishinka would approach Jine, Kakarot's mother.
We're sorry for everything that happened today. Your son will become a powerful warrior. It'll be your job and your education to give him if it becomes the destroyer of the multiverses or a savior.
Never thought that my little Kakarot would be so much power. And don't worry, we'll make sure that he becomes a warrior who will be able to protect all the others. At that moment, all the divine beings would leave to their respective planets. After approximately 20 years, which Kakarot had become a powerful warrior and had finished with the life of Frieza, when trying to destroy his planet on multiple occasions, Kakarot would begin to travel through each one of the multiverses. When Kakarot had the memories of the creator god Sekibura, he knew that he should become much more powerful to be able to face such a powerful god. My power is great, but compared to the other kings and subjects that exist in all the multiverses, I'm still too weak. After a few months of expedition, Kakarot would return again to his planet with the intention of training his father Bardock, because if he had a powerful partner, he could increase much faster his battle level. However, it was impossible, Bardock not being able to withstand even 1% of the power of Kakarot. However, at that precise moment, in his mind, he was able to observe his Ozaru.
Kakarot-sama, you can face the gods and angels, since they have divine power, but their power is great. Not compared to yours, but it'll be much more effective than training with your father.
I understand. That's what we'll do. Kakarot at that moment would say goodbye to his parents and would take course to the planet of Beerus. However, all the gods after the visit to the Saiyan planet 20 years ago all had trained, since they knew that if the child is revealed would be his end. However, even the great Zeno-sama, a beautiful angel, much more powerful than everything that exists, was very interested in Kakarot, since she has been watching him for some years. The power of that Saiyan grows more and more. I am impressed. With only 20 years, he has the necessary power to even defeat a king without even making any effort. Mikoshin would continue observing Kakarot. Meanwhile, on the planet of Beerus, a strong rumble would make it shake. And at that moment, Beerus and Whis would approach where such a rumble had occurred. At the moment of arriving, both would notice the present Saiyan of Beerus would not recognize him just by observing him as a baby. However, Whis was able to recognize him, but before he speaks, Kakarot, with a much greater power, was able to make Whis not able to speak or even move a single one of his muscles, and would quickly communicate with Whis telepathically. I know that you know who I really am, but I want this guy to use all his power. And don't be afraid that he'll be eliminated, so you better not say anything at all. At that moment, Kakarot will decrease his pressure.
What the hell is a Saiyan doing on my planet? Don't you know that I am the most powerful god of destruction among the 12 gods? If I wanted to, I could finish you off in the blink of an eye. I want you to try, and see if you have enough power to at least make me bleed a little. Beerus at that moment, in anger, would throw himself against Kakarot, who would decrease his power to 5% of all his power, to take damage and get a Zenkai. Beerus at that moment, with his maximum power, would give a great blow to Kakarot, which would make him fall to the ground very badly wounded. What the hell? I didn't understand that the Destroyer God possesses so much power. The blow that I received hurt me too much, but this is what I wanted. At that moment, Kakarot would stand up and with a battle pose would begin to fight with the Destroyer God of Universe 7. At that moment, both began with a great battle, destroying stars, planets, and galaxies. The battle of Kakarot and Beerus would continue in its climax. That's right, the power of Beerus had surprised Kakarot, which did not imagine that Beerus would be so powerful. In the moment of the battle, Kakarot was able to end it by increasing his power to 25%. However, to his surprise, Beerus was able to dodge the blow that almost knocked him out of combat. For a Saiyan, you are very powerful. You're worthy of observing 100% of all my power. So let's see what you can do against it.
At that moment, Beerus would begin to raise its power to the maximum. Even his appearance was changing. That's right, the power of Beerus was even shaking the entire Universe 7. At that moment of a great explosion of energy, Hawkeye could be observed Beerus in his new transformation, which would leave surprised Kakarot. Beerus at that moment would be launched against Kakarot. Goku was not able to dodge his powerful blow because he was only transformed into Super Saiyan. At that moment, Kakarot, knowing that even with all his ordinary transformations, he would be no match for that god, would begin to increase his power, accessing the Super Saiyan Blue. That's right, at that moment, Kakarot with a serious look would stand in front of Beerus.
You turned out to be a worthy opponent, so I'll show you my power.
Kakarot and Beerus at that same instant would disappear from the whole place, starting to move at a great speed, starting to disintegrate every planet in the universe. That's right, when colliding with their blows were so powerful that they were not able to neutralize them completely. Meanwhile, with Mikoshin, she was equally very surprised to realize how a God Destroyer possessed all that great power. This is incredible! Zeno-sama's multiverse has increased in power in an amazing way. I can't believe how much power they have achieved in such a short period of time. Meanwhile, in the realm of the whole, Daishinken was also watching the battle, being a little amazed at the power Beerus had obtained.
The god power Beerus had increased in an incredible way. He should be considered a supreme god. He has the power to back it up.
At that moment, one of the guards would approach Daishinken.
Daishinken, you are still watching the battle of that Saiyan? I don't know how a god was able to match him. If at that moment he was born, he was able to make everything around him tremble. I don't know, but his power doesn't compare to the moment of his birth. How strange.
What they did not know was that Kakarot's power was hidden. That's right, Kakarot only used what was necessary so that the other beings would not know his true battle level. Returning to the battle of both, Beerus and Kakarot were a little injured. However, at that moment, Kakarot would give a big smile and laugh.
You really are a powerful god. You've earned my respect. I, the most powerful Saiyan of all the universes, recognize you as a worthy opponent. What do you mean by this? Are you giving up? Of course not. In this instant, I'll demonstrate to you the power of which you'll not be able to surpass, no matter how hard you try.
Kakarot in that same instant would access to Ultra Instinct. That's right, in the same moment, Kakarot, with a powerful and accurate hit, was able to make Beerus fall to the ground, losing his transformation and being out of combat.
Angel of the Universe 7 Whis, I thank you for keeping my secret and excuse my behavior. I know that maybe you don't trust me, but a danger is approaching.
Don't worry, Kakarot-sama. All the divine beings have given you the vote of confidence.
Be sure that you'll not regret it. I'll do whatever it takes to protect this multiverse that I love so much.
Kakarot in that moment would leave it to an inhospitable place of all the Universe 7. That's right, Kakarot would begin to meditate, since for beings who broke the laws of power, it was of utmost importance to meditate. After a while on the planet of Beerus, he would wake up a little confused by everything that had happened.
Whis, what happened? Was I defeated?
That's right, Mr. Beerus. The Saiyan named Kakarot defeated you.
I can't believe I lost to a puny Saiyan. This can't be a damn nightmare.
Of course not, Mr. Beerus. You lost to the best. I know you don't remember, but you just fought the Saiyan that was born 20 years ago.
Was I able to fight against that gigantic power?
That's right, Mr. Beerus. It seems that your power has grown so incredibly, you were able to face that powerful god and was even able to be recognized him.
This only motivates me to become much more powerful. I won't fall so far behind that Saiyan. I want to have a rematch and defeat him in the next one.
Meanwhile, in a place far away from all the multiverses, one of Yiki's subordinates had awakened when he felt the essence of the Protagonist god. Well, well, this seems very interesting to me. That's the power of a creator god. Better go and investigate. At that moment, a guy with horns on his head would stand up and at an impressive speed would begin to head towards the multiverse of Zeno-sama at an impressive speed that no king at all would be able to perceive it. Meanwhile, on the same planet, Bardock was also training because he didn't want to be so far behind the power that his son had.
I know that I was not born with great genetics of my son, but even if it costs me 100 times more to increase my power, I'll make it an effort.
Bardock at that time would begin to train to increase his power and be of help if a new enemy approaches the planet. Meanwhile, in the Kingdom of Everything, Zeno-sama for 10 years ago had not given signs of his life. That's right, Zeno-sama had suffered such defeat, was very bad, and for 10 years Zeno-sama entered one of the rooms of the Kingdom of Everything, and nothing was known about him until today. That is, Zeno-sama at that moment would come out of that room, but the power he gave off was extremely unreal. At that moment, even the High Priest would fall to his knees on the floor.
What is this pressure? Has a new enemy appeared?
At that moment, Zeno-sama will decrease all his pressure, making everyone present in the whole realm able to move freely.
Don't worry, it was only my pressure, because I'm not able yet to control, but you must all increase your power because something very negative is on its way to this multiverse.
What do you mean by that, Zeno-sama?
One thing that Ozaru is right about is our multiverse is under an incredible threat.
I don't understand, Zeno-sama. The Guardians like me will train to become much more powerful.
Alright, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll try not to let my multiverse be annihilated.
Meanwhile, on the planet of Beerus, which still possessed a little of the essence of a creator god, a subordinate named Reik had arrived in front of both deities. However, unlike when Kakarot arrived to the planet, this time an incredible pressure seemed to be suffocating them since they could not even breathe. At that moment, Beerus would access his combat form, relieving the pressure, as well as Whis would increase his power to the maximum.
Do some simple gods want to confront me?
Beings that don't step on the ground of a king at all believe that they are capable of facing me. Reik at that moment, at great speed, would begin a fight with both deities, which had no chance because the power of that god was in another dimension. At that precise moment, Beerus would charge a large sphere of Hakai energy, which Reik would disintegrate with a single one of his fingers.
This is incredible. The power of that guy is even greater than that of Kakarot-sama.
Reik at that moment took the battle a little more seriously and started to beat them both. That's right, the power of his blows was so powerful that even the whole planet was destroyed. After a few exchanges of blows, Beerus and Whis were in troubled conditions, and they were not able to continue the battle.
I'll spare your life if you give me information about everything I want to know.
I'll not say anything for a being that releases pure evil from within. Wrong answer, God. I hope you're prepared to die, as this'll be the end of you.
At that moment, Reich was about to end Beerus' life. A powerful blow would send him flying through a few mountains and trees. That very moment, Kakarot would take Beerus in his arms.
You did well, Beerus. Now you can rest. Thank you, Whis, for communicating with me. Now they're safe.
Be careful, Kakarot-sama. This guy's powerful is incredible.
Don't worry about me. I'll end the life of this wretch.
Kakarot at that moment would stretch one of his hands, being able to wrap both in a large sphere of energy, which both would begin to heal their wounds and recover each of their powers. At that moment, Reich would return to the battlefield, since the blow that Kakarot had given him contained an absurdly unreal power.
Who are you? How do you have so much power?
You've been able to cause me a little damage.
The only thing you should know is that I'm the one in charge of ending your miserable life.
Whis, you must do something. Kakarot's power and mine are equal, so he will be no match for him. I don't know, Mr. Beerus, but the power that Kakarot gives off this time is much stronger than the one he fought with you. Reich at that moment would throw himself against Kakarot, who was able to stop the blow, but it had been very difficult. At that moment, both subjects began to fight at a speed never seen before in this multiverse. Kakarot at that moment would throw a great sphere to the sky, creating a barrier so that no one else feels his powers. You think that sealing me will be enough? I'm the subordinate of the Creator God.
I sealed you so that you won't have any other allies be able to interfere,
because including you, there are 7 more of Yiki's subordinates. So, you're the damned one who possesses the power of the Creator God Sekibora. You have my job much easier. Here I'll be able to kill you without you having the chance to escape.
I'm now locked up with you. You're locked up with me. So I hope you're ready, because I'll use all my power, and nothing and nobody will be able to save you.
Kakarot at that moment began to increase his power to the maximum, accessing the Super Saiyan Phase 3 with the Ultra Instinct. That's right, the power that Kakarot was releasing was so much that even Beerus and Whis would be very surprised. But at that moment, Kakarot would pass to his Ozaru form, leaving everyone much more surprised.
What the hell? How is he able to turn into that gigantic monkey?
From what I understand, the Saiyans have the ability to transform as long as they see the full moon.
I hope you're ready for your end, because with this body, I'm able to finish you with a single blow.
If your body increased so much in size, your speed will decrease too much. Reich at that moment would begin to give him a rain of blows, but to his surprise, the Ozaru would dodge each one of his blows.
Let's see what you think of this. Release of the King of Beasts, Ozaru Creator.
At that moment, a pentagram and a seal would be formed all over the place, being completely destroyed and beginning to increase its power much more, making all the universes tremble. Kakarot, such a moment, would continue increasing his power in an incredible way. So much was its bestial power that it would make even Reich retreat. However, at that moment, a gigantic Ozaru would appear in front of everyone, begin to fight with that guy. However, this time, at the time of colliding their fists, the difference in power was totally clear. Kakarot, having much more destructive power, was able to cause much more damage to Reich. After only 10 minutes of battle, in which Reich was very badly injured, he was furious. Not having the necessary power to end the life of that simple mortal, from his viewpoint, Kakarot was just another worm. Damn it, if you're only the same size as me, I'd be able to finish you off.
You're wrong. Even if I were your own size, you wouldn't be able to fight me.
What do you say we give it a try? Or are you afraid?
Ha 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 ha. An existence like me will never be afraid of it being as weak as you.
Kakarot at that moment began to transform into Super Saiyan Phase 4. That's right, Kakarot, instead of returning to its base state, had evolved once again. The transformation he had obtained would leave surprised Whis and Beerus. Was he holding back in all battle? Even unleashing all his beastly power, it doesn't compare to the power with which he was born. Is that Saiyan so much more powerful, but he's limiting you to using a certain part of his power? That's something hard to believe.
For now, we're the same size. What do you say we end this battle once and for all?
I agree with you. Now I can finish you with a single blow. Reich at that moment, at an amazing speed that not even Whis was able to observe, had given a shrapnel of blows to Kakarot, which would send him flying into a lake, and without warning, he would charge a large sphere of energy, which would disintegrate all the water in the lake. What do you think of that, simple mortal? You're stupid to return to your normal state. It seems that today we will die, since the power of Kakarot-sama has disappeared. However, at that moment, a loud rumble would be felt all over the planet of Beerus. And at that moment, Kakarot would be seen shaking his chest where he had received such a powerful blow. Was that all your power? The only thing you have done was to disappoint me. You don't have the power to even make me bleed. Meanwhile, with Mikoshin, she was very surprised to witness a part of Kakarot's power. That's right, his power was a power that even for her would be difficult to face. But she also wondered, who was that guy named Reich? This is very strange. That guy has a very strange energy. Returning to the battlefield, Kakarot at that moment with a serious look would stand in front of Reich at lightning speed. I'm the Saiyan with the legendary power Ozaru and the dragon god Zarma, who will end the life of Zyeki, and I will start with you. Reich at that moment with fear would begin to attack desperately to Kakarot, but each of his attacks were in vain, because if they hit Kakarot they had no effect. At that moment, Reich regretted having gone to that planet because he knew he was going to die. I know that you'll end my life, but I will not go to the other world alone. Reich at that moment began to increase his power much more. Even his whole body began to spurt absurd amounts of blood. That's right, Reich was surpassing the limit of his body. At that moment, Reich would take Kakarot strongly with the intention of exploding. I think it's honorable that you'll give your life to finish me. Divine Body of Steel, Heavenly Protection, Divine Bomb. At that moment, a big explosion was able to be seen all over the place. Even the barrier that Kakarot had put had cracked a little. In the sky, you could see Reich very badly wounded on the verge of death. The power of that bastard was really scary. I better get out of this place. I knew it'd be a very honorable act for a being like you. That little explosion was able to cause a few tickles all over my body. What the hell are you? You can't be an ordinary being. Even we, who are born with the gift of possessing Creator Key, are not able to come out of an explosion like this without a scratch. I'm not the same as you. I'm 100 times better than you. So now die! Kakarot at that instant would stretch his hand, throwing a great sphere of Hawkeye energy, which would disintegrate Reich, leaving no trace of it. In that moment, Kakarot would stop concentrating energy in the field that protected Beerus and Whis. Kakarot-sama, did you hold back in all battle? My power is to protect you. It's not to hurt you or to finish you. The only thing we did was have a great training. I understand, Kakarot-sama, but rest assured that I'll become a very powerful being and soon I'll defeat you. I'll be waiting for that moment with eagerness. Kakarot at that moment, he was about to leave, would fall out of combat and return to his base state. That's right, although Kakarot did not show it, his body was in pieces. When using the power of the legendary Ozaru, his body was so heavy and dense that it was able to break each of his energy veins. At that moment, Beerus and Whis would take Kakarot to a room where he could rest. Meanwhile, with the 7 subordinates of the negative creator god, all of them would feel how Reich's vital energy had disappeared. Reich's power has disappeared. A warrior seems to have the necessary power to finish with one of us. We must be attentive, because this is war. Meanwhile, in the Kingdom of Everything, in a special room of the same form, Daishenkin, together with the Guardians of Zeno-sama, were training in a very bloody way. That's right, all the warriors wanted to strengthen their bodies as the hardened metal of all their universes. We have been in this place for about 3 months, and I'm still not able to get used to this pressure. We don't know how the King of Everything was able to endure all this for 10 years. Meanwhile, Zeno-sama, he was meditating to be able to control all his power at 100%. That's right, Zeno-sama had no longer returned to his base state. Now at all times he was transformed and ready for combat. We must be ready for the war that's approaching. Even though I have all this power, I don't feel prepared. The danger that's approaching is of another level. Returning to the planet of Beerus, Kakarot would continue out of combat and had already approximately 2 weeks since that great battle, in which Kakarot would continue out of combat. Nevertheless, inside himself, Kakarot was able to observe Zalma. Kakarot, you've grown up a lot, and this is the first time I have met you. You are the chosen one to be the creator god, so don't disappoint us.
The power that sleeps inside you is a power that even capable of making the so-called creator gods tremble with fear. You're the salvation of this multiverse.
I'll not let you down. I'll save this multiverse even if it costs me my life. I swear I'll do it. Meanwhile, on the planet of Zeno-sama, he was very thoughtful because despite having all that bestial power, he was not prepared. However, at that very moment, a door of the Kingdom of Everything had opened after hundreds of thousands of years. That's right, from this room, a guy released a great power.
Wow, after so many years, a being has awakened the interest of my battle instinct again. This is something that does not happen every day.
At that moment, that subject would increase his power a little, making it difficult for even the King of Everything, Zeno-sama, to breathe. At that moment, Zeno-sama will create a barrier around his body, being able to move freely.
Whose power is this? It's a power that at the top of everyone's list.
Meanwhile, in a faraway place, Mikoshin had felt the power of Zeldris, and she would recognize it quickly as she had fought with it in the past. But if this is the appearance of Zeldris, how the hell did he break free from the seal of a king at all? This is bad. Returning to the realm of a whole, Zeno, at that instant, would stand in front of the subject.
Who are you? And how can you be in my castle without me noticing your wretched presence?
I have more respect, since this castle was mine before it was yours.
Zeno-sama would be very surprised by the words that Zeldris had said to him.
Well, having spent millions of years asleep, I think I'll stretch my muscles with you. I hope you're powerful and do not disappoint me.
Zeldris at that moment, with an incredible speed, would begin to beat the King of Everything, who despite being able to clearly see his blows, was not able to react. After 3 minutes of battle in which Zeno-sama had received all the beating of his life, he was able to move away a little and release all his power, leaving Zeldris surprised due to the power he released. Even Mikoshin, who was heading to Zeno-sama's planet. Meanwhile, at Beerus' planet, Kakarot had already regained consciousness and was able to stand up again.
You're kind of a tough guy. Let's see how you like the true power of a king at all.
Zeno-sama at that moment began to increase his power so much, which was able to create a big explosion due to all the power he was releasing. At the moment of finishing, Zeno-sama at an incredible speed would throw himself against Zeldris, which was not able to dodge a strong blow in his face, being completely sent to fly to a planet. At that moment, Zeno-sama would begin to give him a shrapnel of blows, moving at a great speed throughout the universe.
Receive this, punishing sword of gods, spiritual destroyer.
A great sword would begin to descend from all over the universe. At that moment of hitting Zeldris, he would use his sword in the same way, starting an incredible clash of weapons. After 2 minutes, a strong explosion would be created all over the place. That's right, the collision was not able to withstand so much energy. However, at that precise moment, Zeno-sama, without wasting time, would rush again against Zeldris, who was very badly wounded.
Damn it. The power of this guy even surpasses the power of Zaiku-sama, who is the most powerful king of everything.
However, at that moment, an incredible pressure would fall on the entire universe. That's right, Kakarot had awakened and had a powerful Zenkai, with which he even made both subjects tremble. Kakarot was again passing to his Ozaru form, but this time the power he gave off was so much that even left surprised all the deities of the multiverse as Zeno-sama. Even Mikoshin, which was going through the megaversal barriers, was pulled to the ground by that great pressure. That boy's power is incredible. He's advancing so fast that it's hard to believe he's still a mere mortal. But something that everyone was confused about was that Kakarot was not a mortal. He was destined to become the most powerful Saiyan creator god of all time, and to end the life of Yiki. The gigantic Ozaru at that moment would give a loud roar, and from a sphere of energy you could see Goku in his most powerful phase so far.
I'm ready for battle.
Kakarot had completely recovered, and thanks to this great battle, he had obtained an incredible Zenkai, making all the universes tremble, which would leave everyone surprised, even Zeno-sama, who was fighting with Zeldris.
This power is that Saiyan's. I thought that with my training, I'd overcome him, but his power seems to have no limits.
What the hell is this pressure? I can't believe it. I can't even move.
I'd understood that Zaiku-sama was the most powerful being of all the multiverses, but I was totally wrong.
Meanwhile, in a different universe, Mikoshin was equally surprised since the power of Kakarot even surpassed the power of Zeldris, which millions of years ago caused problems even to the super kings of the whole multiverse. This is incredible! The power of a simple Saiyan is able to reach this level. He will be a great ally for us, so we must unite to finish with the subordinates of the negative creator god Yiki. Returning to Universe 7, Kakarot was in his transformation of Super Saiyan Phase 4 Celestial, but the moment he regained consciousness, he would stop releasing such incredible power, since he was able to destroy everything around him.
Oh, sorry, Beerus and Whis. I was not able to control my power.
That's the power that was felt 20 years ago. At last you have shown your attentive power, Kakarot-sama.
So that's the your true power, Kakarot-sama. I never really stood a chance against you.
Never say such nonsense, Beerus. The limits will only be set for ourselves, because if we strive every day, our power will be gigantic. Beerus was much more excited with the words of Kakarot, was determined to increase to an incredible level, a destructive level. Meanwhile, returning to the planet of Vegeta, Father Bardock had been able to master the Super Saiyan, even obtaining the variables up to Super Saiyan Phase 3.
My son has yielded excellent results. Now I'm able to train with my son.
However, in a place far away from all these universes, the 5 subordinates of the negative creator god Yiki were forming a plan to eradicate Kakarot, who was able to the end of the life of one of his brothers in battle.
Even if I have to send 3 more gods of death, I will do it. Supreme Gods 3, 4, and 5. Go and finish with that wretch.
At that moment, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th Supreme Gods would go at amazing speeds towards the planet of Beerus. That's right, in that place, they felt the energy of the guy who had ended the life of Reich. Kakarot, at that moment, would feel 3 gigantic powers. That's right, despite being millions of miles away, Kakarot was able to feel his abominable power.
Whis, Beerus, get out of there! 3 powers are on their way, and their powers are greater than the one I defeated. This will be a very complicated battle.
But Kakarot-sama, you fight alone, you'll die. Please, let us help you. At that moment, a sword of energy would descend directly towards both deities, and Kakarot, with an amazing reaction speed, was able to get in front of that great attack, and with his destructive blow, he was able to destroy the entire divine sword.
Get out of here! The only thing you'll do will be in my way!
Mr. Beerus, let's leave. Although it pains us to admit it, we can't do anything in this battle. Even Zeno-sama won't be able to confront these powers. Whis and Beerus at that moment were able to leave. A guy would stand in front of them.
Where do you think you're going? All beings who oppose the creator god Yiki will die.
Damn it! I told you so!
Kakarot at that moment would increase a great power of his power and launched himself against the guy who had arrived. However, the guy dodged each of his blows without any difficulty.
Hell, my power's hundreds of times more than the other guy faced.
At that moment, the 2 remaining gods would appear.
Don't think that it'll be an even battle. We have the mission to defeat you in any way, even if we outnumber you.
At that moment, the 3 subjects had thrown themselves against Kakarot, who in spite of fighting with a great part of his power, was not able to face 3 warriors at the same time. That's right, Kakarot was receiving the beating of his life, not being able to do anything to defend himself.
You turned out to be a poor insect. You have nothing to do against us.
Kakarot would receive the beating from a trio of warriors. However, the moment Kakarot became unconscious, he would return to his base state and seem to be lifeless.
Ha ha ha! Simple mortal, you are not a worthy opponent.
The 3 warriors charged one of their most powerful attacks, launching it against Kakarot, and the planet Beerus and Whis would try to stop the attack, but it would be in vain. The moment the attack was about to end the life of the 3 warriors, an extremely powerful roar would be heard throughout the universes, even reaching the 2 most powerful supreme gods.
Thank you very much for trying to give your life for our master. But now, I will borrow your body, and you will face against the Golden Ozaru.
At that moment, the body of Kakarot had passed again to the Super Saiyan Phase 4, but a big difference was the color of his fur. That's right, this time all his fur was a bright golden color.
How were you able to stop our attack? But it doesn't matter. Now we'll finish you with the blows.
At that moment, the Zaiku was only 3 centimeters away from hitting Beerus. Kakarot had teleported in front of Beerus and would strongly grab Zaiku's hand and would start to feel an abominable pain.
Aren't you defeated? They were able to defeat my master, but I'm their hidden power. Along with the Dragon Zama, now it'll be their turn to face us.
Kakarot, in that moment of an extremely powerful blow, would be able to pierce Zaiku, which at that moment would fall to the ground lifeless. Beerus and Whis were very surprised to realize the brutal increase of Kakarot. At lightning speed, the 3 warriors began to exchange fists, but unlike before, Kakarot was the only one who had the advantage. Regardless of the numerical difference, meanwhile, with Mikoshin, she had felt the power to also possess some creative energy. Really, that Saiyan is not normal. He has an amazing power. He's even able to face the descendants of the negative creator god Yiki. This is our chance to finish with all his legacy once and for all. In the palace of the King of Everything, Zeldris and Zeno-sama were both very surprised and unable to move. In that moment, Daishinkan, together with both guardians, would come out of their training, but despite having increased their power in an amazing way, they were completely dragged to the floor without being able to do anything.
But what the hell? Who releases all this power? Even though we were pushed our bodies to the limit, we're not able to withstand this pressure. The power of this pressure resembles that of the Saiyan boy. I remember him because he annihilated us.
Daishinkan at that moment, with his mental power, was able to realize that what both guardians were saying was the right thing, since he was able to observe Kakarot fighting with 2 other subjects.
Apparently, Kakarot-sama really is the protector of this multiverse, since he's facing 2 warriors who'd be able to finish us with a single blow.
Returning to the battle, both gods were very wounded, unlike Kakarot, who seemed not to be wounded, but internally his body was in pieces. That's right, Kakarot's body was about to collapse.
At this moment, I'll finish you off. I'm tired of playing games.
Kakarot began to increase all the remaining power he had left over, but even his energy veins were tearing from such an effort. At that moment, Kakarot would even activate Kaioken, making all his bones break from the energy drain.
This is the end of you cursed ones. You should have never faced me.
Kakarot, without giving him time to charge their attacks, launched into the attack against both, giving them a great beating. A powerful energy slingshot had reduced them to mere atoms. However, Kakarot had also fallen out of combat, but at that moment, Beerus would take him in his arms.
You're really amazing. I can't believe the power you have.
Beerus and Whis would again come to Kakarot to rest, but this time, all the power of the god Ozaru was merging with Kakarot so that he would be able to use it at will.
The final battle is very near, and we must be ready for all of the sake of all that's created by our creator god Psyche Bura.
Meanwhile, in the Kingdom of Everything, all the subjects were able to move freely, but at that very moment, a beautiful woman would arrive. King of Everything, Zeno-sama, I can see that you're the most powerful king of everything in your combat form, being even able to defeat Zeldris.
Thank you for the compliment, Mikoshin. But who's Zeldris? How was he in my palace?
In short, Zeldris is an ancient demon who was sealed by all the other kings of the world. This would surprise Zeno-sama, who didn't know all this.
But Mikoshin, why did you come here? I no longer doubt that you have come here to give me this information.
You're right, Zeno-sama. We must unite all the other kings of the whole, along with the Saiyan named Kakarot, since the final battle is about to begin.
Final battle? What the hell do you mean? I don't understand anything.
Zeno-sama, the creator gods really exist. They're not simple legend as it is believed, and apparently Kakarot was born with a great part of the powers of the creator god in order to end all the evil of these universes. Zeno-sama would be very surprised by what Mikoshin said, since the legend of the creator gods was a simple rumor from millions of years ago.
So the creator gods really exist. It's incredible. Can't believe it. That means we must train even harder.
Indeed, Daishinkan, we must increase our powers because from what I've investigated, the powers of the last 2 supreme gods are abominable.
But how will we end the life of the creator god?
I don't understand that.
The moment we wipe out all their offspring, it's said that the portal to Yiki's dimension will be observed, and we must defeat them in their world.
That's a damn suicide mission. How are we going to face him in this world?
Because if we face him here, his energy is capable of spreading to the other multiverses and reincarnate again. Meanwhile, with Kakarot, he was deeply asleep, but the legendary Zalma was repairing each one of his energy veins since he needed his carrier to be 100% to support both powers. At that moment, Kakarot was able to wake up in a part of his subconscious observing Zalma. Zalma! What happened? Did I die?
Of course not, you didn't die. Since your mission is to end the legacy of the creator god Yiki, and only you'll be able to do it.
I'm willing to give my life to accomplish it, but I don't know if I have enough power to do it. At that very moment, the creator god had appeared in front of Kakarot and Zalma.
But this is impossible.
My creator, Sekibura-sama, is in front of me. Tell me, Lord, what do I owe this honor?
After millions of years, my power has chosen a Saiyan who will put an end to all my dear brother's greed.
So you're the creator god. I promise you that I'll not let anyone get away with it. I'll even give my life just to put an end to all the evil.
I'm sure of that. So, I come to give you the battle knowledge that I have.
Sekibura at that moment given him the divine knowledge of battles. That's right, the creator gods fought in a very different way than the mortals. With this knowledge, he'll be able to face anyone.
Thank you very much for trusting my great god Zalma and legendary Saiyan god Ozaru.
At that moment, a great light would illuminate all around him, and Sekibura had disappeared from Kakarot's mind. I'm not allowed to lose. Zalma and Ozaru, the three of us will be victorious in this war.
Of course we will.
Kakarot had received the last trace of energy from the creator god Sekibura, and with his extra power, he had been able to access his best state as a Saiyan. So this time, when Kakarot opened his eyes, they were all of a silver color. The power he gave off was amazing. His base state was currently the Ultra Instinct. However, the difference in power was abysmal, since only with the Ultra Instinct he was able to defeat kings in a single blow. The power that Kakarot-sama possesses is incredible. I'm not even able to see the limit of his power. Oh, this power is incredible, but I must become much more powerful to be able to save all of my loved ones. Zalma, only in case of emergency I'll use your power.
As you order, Kakarot-sama, since from now on, you only will be the one creator god.
Kakarot at this moment had recovered completely and 100% leaving Beerus and Whis surprised, since not even 24 hours had passed. Kakarot-sama, it will be better for you to rest again since your power is still not completely recovered, and it'll be better for your energy veins to be completely recovered. Whis, you don't have to worry about me, because right now, I'm going to fish with those damned minions. I have the necessary power to do it. But Kakarot-sama, this is very risky since, from what the three guys said, it was that the two remaining supreme gods were the most powerful ones. No matter if they're the most powerful gods, today I'll put an end to the reign of Yiki and the end of the miserable existences as purgatory. Kakarot, without saying a word, would quickly go to the planet Vegeta and would notice that all the Saiyans were training hard. However, one of the Saiyans stood out above all. Yes, the Saiyan was Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan. The power of that Saiyan's amazing. I can't believe it. And as far as I can tell, his level of battle seems to have no limit. Kakarot at that moment would approach Broly, which at that moment would begin to talk. And in the same way, Kakarot would explain everything that happened. Managing to get the help of Broly, Kakarot and Broly, at that moment, with the teleportation of Kakarot, would reach the Kingdom of Everything, leaving everyone surprised, even Zeldris, since he felt all the power that emanated from the body of Goku.
Who is this guy? I've never met him in the past, but he has an unreal power.
Zeno-sama, Daishiken-sama, I thank you for trusting me. Now I'll fulfill my destiny and finish with the ambitions of that creator god Yiki. Zeldris, at that moment of hearing the name, would be astonished since he had only heard it in legends of even ancient gods.
Kakarot-sama, it's been the best decision we could have taken, so I'm sure that you'll be the savior of all the universes. We trust you, Kakarot-sama.
Count on that one. Even if I have to give my life, I'll finish with all traces of that wretch.
Kakarot and Broly at that moment would arrive to the planet of the two supreme gods, which would stand up. One of them had Saiyan appearance, while the other one seemed to be an ordinary human being. However, the shape of his aura formed the death, implying that he had finished with hundreds of living beings.
So you're the subordinates of the miserable Yiki.
Both subjects at that moment had launched an attack, getting angry since Kakarot had not had the slightest respect of his creator. Broly, at that moment, would access the legendary Super Saiyan, making everything around him tremble. While Kakarot would begin to fight against Sorat, which looked like the simple human, but his power was amazing. While Broly was facing Tarbell, the battle that both were having was a brutal battle. That's right, his power was so devastating that even the multiverses of the other kings of the whole were affected by the battle. Kakarot was the one who totally dominated the battle, unlike Broly, who was receiving a beating from Tarbell. However, his power was increasing while the battle was going on, until the moment in which Tarbell would direct a powerful blow, which Broly would stop with only one of his hands.
You've had enough fun. Now it's my turn to attack. I hope you're ready, because I'll not hold back.
Broly at that moment would hold Tarbell by the head and start to crash him through every planet and rock that was around him, while Kakarot only dodged each of his blows, and when they collided their fists, they did it with the same power so as not to cause collisions in the other multiverses.
How is it possible that you have all this incredible power? This can't be. I'm the chosen one by the creator god Sekibura, and I'll not allow any of you two to put an end to my plan to put evil to an end. You can't do this. Since the power of our creator is unlimited, he has never known defeat and never will. No matter how impossible a challenge may seem, I'll overcome it one way or another.
Kakarot at that moment, in order to not waste more of his energy, he would increase his power a little bit, which with his speed would increase incredibly. With a strong blow, he would leave Sorat out of combat, who would fall to the ground.
I don't deserve to have mercy on you, you damned insect.
Kakarot, at that moment, with a large sphere of energy, had completely finished with the life of Sorat, leaving no trace. Tarbell would be surprised not to feel the power of Sorat, since he was the most powerful god of the subordinates of the creator god Yiki.
Damn it, this'll be the end of me. But if I have to die here, I'll not do it without finishing with the life of that damned one.
Tarbell at that moment would increase his power to the maximum, being able to dodge a few blows of Broly and flying with his maximum speed towards Kakarot, hugging him tightly.
You trusted me. I know I'll die, so I'll explode and take you with me to the other world. Stop putting your filthy hands on my body. What did you say? Stop putting your dirty hands on my body.
At that moment, Goku's aura had increased so much, which would pulverize Tarbell's body, which would leave Broly very surprised, as he witnessed the incredible and bestial power of Kakarot.
Kakarot-sama, are we really ready to finish with that creator god?
Of course we are, Broly. Trust me, today we will put an end to that cursed one.
Kakarot and Broly began to fly through all the universes at an overwhelming speed, so much that the same space-time was cracking, because the speed of both subjects was exceptional. However, what both didn't know was that the energy of the six fallen supreme gods was entering little by little into the body of Yiki. That's right, Yiki was absorbing the power of his offspring.
Damn it! If the essence of my children is coming into me, that means that they have died. I must assimilate this power and finish with the descendants of Sekibura.
Yiki at that moment was assimilating all that power so as not to have so much energy consumption. Meanwhile, returning to the kingdom of everything, all the beings of the place were very astonished.
How is it possible that this guy is going to face Yiki-sama? It's said that his power was never known to any limit. Only his brother Sekibura was able to defeat him, but he had to give his life to finish him off. You're right, but what you don't know is that the Saiyan named Kakarot is the son, or rather the being that possesses more than 75% of Sekibura's power.
At that moment, Mikoshin, who had arrived in Zeno-sama's multiverse, would also be astonished. That explains why that being has such bestial power. Only he's capable of ending all the evil of the multiverses where the essence of Yiki.
This is something very difficult to assimilate. I can't believe that a being with such power exists. Much less did I know that the creator god Saikibura had left a great part of his power to a simple mortal. He is not a simple mortal, since as far as I can tell, he's the being that has the ability to withstand the power of a creator god. That's right. If any of us possessed the power of Saikibura-sama, we'd explode as this power would be so dense and heavy on our bodies and veins of energy.
Even the Saiyan who possesses a warrior body are formidable, but this Saiyan named Kakarot, it's amazing. I can't believe it.
Even so, we must not leave him alone, because if the power of Yiki is so great, he'll not have it easy, and we must have him with our energies.
Meanwhile, in Universe 7, Beerus and Whis were very thoughtful about everything that had happened, since this time Kakarot had been wounded much more than the last battle, and had a much bigger Zenkai, and his wounds healed at an amazing speed. Whis, is everything going normally? I don't know why, but I feel that something's very bad about to happen. I felt the same way, Mr. Beerus, but we can't do anything, because the power of Kakarot-sama even surpasses a king at all. At that moment, the voice of the High Priest Daishinkan-sama would resound throughout the universes.
Destroyer gods and guardian angels of all universes. I want you to be aware that if Kakarot-sama needs our powers to Venicure in this battle, we'll give him the last drop of our energies. As you command, Daishinkan-sama!
However, hundreds of thoughts were invading every planet of the 12 universes. That's right, since some gods didn't know who the guy named Kakarot was, and why even Daishinkan-sama had so much respect for him, returning to Kakarot and Broly, both had already flown for a few days and still had too much distance left. However, at that moment, Kakarot was able to observe Zama in his mind. Master, if you wish, I could teleport you to that place. Of course, only if you feel ready to go.
Of course we feel ready. Just one favor. Give us back our energies to go 100% of our power.
Of course, Master. That won't be a problem.
At that moment, Zalma's eyes would shine, making Kakarot and Broly to be at 100% of their power, and at that moment, they'd be teleported to a similar hell. That's right, everything around them was chaos, and even the air was too thick to breathe easily.
What the hell is this place? I can't believe that a being is able to live here.
At that moment, a loud voice would echo through the place.
Are you making fun of this place? You should thank the damned Saikibura. With that as his last power was able to seal me in this damned place. But when I finish with you two, I'll be able to finally return to the world of the living.
That'll be impossible, because if we're in this place, it's because we know that we can defeat you, even if it costs us our lives. Today, we will end your existence completely. At that moment, Kakarot would take a step forward and would pass to the Celestial Super Saiyan 4, which at this time emanated an amazing pressure. And Broly at that moment would access the Super Saiyan Legendary. Both would be launched against Yiki, but to the surprise of both, Yiki was able to stop a blow of Broly and a kick of Kakarot with each of his hands, which would leave surprised both Saiyans, which didn't believe in such bestial power that he possessed.
Did you think that you're the only ones who trained? I knew that my stupid brother's offspring would be difficult, and that he would choose a worthy opponent, so I trained as well.
Yiki at that moment would expel a great part of his power, making both of them retreat to begin to hit him. They didn't know there were so many blows came from. Yiki in a moment would throw both of them to the ground, very badly wounded. What the hell? I thought that was the power I possessed would be enough. But the power of that guy is incredible.
Kakarot! That guy's power is way beyond us.
I'm really sorry, Broly, for getting you into this situation. I'll create an opening. I want you to leave this place.
I'll never do it, Kakarot. If I have to die, I'll do it by your side.
Kakarot at that moment threw himself against Yiki, starting to exchange blows, while communicating telepathically with Broly. Broly, I appreciate your help, but I need you alive. When you leave this damn place, go to the planet Vegeta. Ask all the Saiyans to give me their power.
But Kakarot, getting to planet Vegeta will take me days, or even weeks.
At that moment, Daishinkan had interfered with their mental communication.
Don't worry, Broly. I'll keep an eye on your power, and when you leave that place, I'll take you quickly to the planet Vegeta.
I don't know how you have interrupted my mental communication, but thank you, Daishinkan.
Is that all you can do? You're nothing but a simple worm! Now I can use all my power. Doesn't matter if my body's in pieces. I'll exterminate you!
Kakarot at that moment would pass to its definitive golden phase, which mixed with the power of the legendary Ozaru and Zama. Kakarot at that moment would give a strong roar, with which he was able to open a portal and making Broly leave that place.
So you've let your partner escape. That doesn't matter to me, because when I leave this place, I'll finish with every living being in the universe outside.
Yiki and Kakarot at that moment began with an intense battle, which could not observe a clear winner. But this time, the power of Kakarot's fist caused great damage to Yiki. At the moment that Broly left Daishaken would take him quickly to the planet Vegeta, and Broly would begin to explain everything that happened. Every being on the planet would begin to send their energies, as well as all the divine beings of the multiverses.
Kakarot-sama is not alone. We're with you.
Come on, Kakarot. You're the chosen one. We trust you.
Kakarot and Yiki were still exchanging blows. However, at that moment, Kakarot would fall to the ground because of the excess power that was reaching his whole body.
This is my chance. Die, damn it!
Yiki would throw a great energy sphere, creating an immense explosion. However, at that moment, Kakarot began to increase its power to the max, not causing any scratch, and after a great light, it would be observed to Kakarot, which had not been able to reach omnipotence.
In this state, I only have 1 minute to finish you. This is impossible.
Kakarot at that moment would charge all his power in the last blow.
Receive this! Attack of the Dragon God, Celestial Divine Dragon, die!
The incredible attack would pulverize all existence of Yiki. Even destroying its dimension. Leaving no trace of this, Kakarot at that moment would be out of combat and would return to his base state. Makoshin would feel the power of Kakarot, would teleport quickly to his aid, and would take him to his palace. A few weeks later, Kakarot had recovered and had been proclaimed as the new creator god of the multiverse.
Thank you all very much. Without you, this would not have been possible.
Kakarot had been proclaimed as multiversal creator god, having finished with the life of Yiki. However, with the fall of Yiki, 3 creator gods of different timelines had awakened from their great dream. So with the fall of Yiki, which corresponded to all the north of the Megaverse, beings of great powers began to appear again, which were sealed with a creator seal. With the help of the power of the 4 poles, east, south, north, and west, but with the fall of one of the gods, the seal had been weakened by 25%. However, at that moment that Kakarot had been proclaimed as the new multiversal creator god, an amazing power would have overwhelmed the 3-dimensional gods.
The fall of a creator god and a birth of a new one. This had not happened since 1500 million years ago, when Yiki and his brother Sakibura fought, being Yiki the winner. Returning with Kakarot and the others, all in the multiverse of Zeno-sama already had passed some 700 years, in which all the universes had the perfect level of mortality, and even the destroyer gods were beings of great powers, in which in this occasion had the necessary power to destroy universes. Nonetheless, in this moment of tranquility, it would not last for so long. This way it is, in that instant a powerful warrior would have been able to wake up. Flashback. At the moment that Kakarot was able to finish with the life of Yiki, the whole North Pole was left. A powerful being was able to set himself free. However, he was in terrible condition, so he had decided to sleep for a few hundred years. End of flashback. After hundreds of years, I have completely recovered. Apparently Yiki has fallen, but I don't feel the power of Sakibura either. Apparently those two have completely killed each other. I only feel the power of Sorat, Nor, and Hades.
That being at that moment would expel a disgusting negative aura, with which he was able to begin to absorb the vital energy of hundreds of planets. However, he wished to have much greater power, so he decided to come up with a plan.
This'll be a bit risky, but I need more power. I want to finish with all the poles and be able to bring the demonic family back to life. Death Divider!
At that moment, from all of Micah's body, large amounts of blood would start to come out. That's right, this technique, which he had activated, required an incredible power. However, at that moment, in all the poles of each dimension, Creator God, including Kakarot's, small amounts of energy would be snatched by force. It was minimal, but counting with all the beings at the poles, it was an incredible power. What happened? 0.1% of my power was forcibly taken away. Kakarot wouldn't have given it any importance, however, in the realm of the whole, Daishaka was in deep thought, having lost a small part of his power as well.
What is supposed to be happening? This technique reminds me of the forbidden technique Rapture, which was used by the 6 evil gods.
However, Daishaka was confused because the Rapture was a copy of a real technique which had the name of Death Divider. Because even if a being was on the verge of death, the amount to be stolen was minimal, no matter if the bearer dies, hence its name. That's right, at that moment thousands of energy spheres and all that energy would begin to enter the body of Micah, which was filling with an incredible power, being so much that the 4-dimensional gods felt the rumble in his body. What the hell? My body feels terror and fear. That power's gigantic. It even surpasses Yiki's power with ease. Kakarot at that moment, at an incredible speed, would begin to move through all the multiverses. However, at the time of arrival, he would find absolutely nothing. But at that moment, the 3-dimensional gods would arrive in the same way, to which Kakarot would be very surprised, because he didn't know the existence of those gods. Who are you? And how were you able to feel those powers?
We are the God-dimensional creators.
Kakarot would be very astonished.
We are aware that you are able to defeat Yiki by being the first Saiyan to be born with the power of the dragon god Zalma in the legendary Ozaru.
How do you know this?
Since you've died approximately 43 times, you were tied to an infinite loop, which had to be fulfilled if or not.
I don't understand what you mean.
In a few words, you were chosen by the power of Psyche Bura. You had to defeat his counterpart. However, before defeating him, you were defeated 43 times. It was said that when you defeated Yiki, everything would be destroyed, since in the premonition that we dimensional gods had in this battle, you would sacrifice yourself. I always told them that we should not trust in premonitions, because the future of us cannot be foreseen, and we have the power to change it.
Kakarot was very astonished by everything that the 3-dimensional gods had told him. This means that I was always destined to end the life of Yiki.
That's right, and until you succeeded, we don't know what would happen from here on. Because as we have told you, you should have died in that battle, so that the whole North Pole disappears with it, even 25% of the Creator Seal.
Creator Seal? What's that?
We must explain many things to you, otherwise, this being will be able to finish with all of us. And if we die, we'll not be able to put a balance to the god of death.
I don't understand anything at all. Is there also a god of death?
That's right, a god of death. He feeds on the souls of the beings that go to the other world, be it paradise or hell. He keeps their powers.
Well, what can happen if you die?
The power of the god of death would be so powerful as to destroy the earthly, angelic, and infernal world.
At that moment, Kakarot would invite them to his multiverse so that even the destroyer gods are informed of this situation, which represents even greater threat than Yiki. In that instant, the 4 warriors at incredible speeds would arrive at the planet of Zeno-sama, and Kakarot would inform all the gods and angels in an emergency meeting. After 10 minutes, all divine beings of all universes had come to the planet of Zeno-sama.
Why this emergency meeting, Kakarot-sama?
At the moment, Hades, who is the most powerful dimensional god among the 3, would step forward.
King of all, priest, angels, and gods. My name's Hades, and I'm the dimensional god, and the reason of this meeting is due to the amount of energy that was stolen from us.
At that moment, hundreds of comments would be heard from all the gods and angels. Apparently, even when I defeated Yiki, the very old seal was weakened, being able to escape a being, which even exceeds the power of Yiki.
The most dangerous thing is not that.
since according to legends in that dimension, there's a demonic race, which is capable of killing a creator god with a single blow.
At that moment, all the gods began to panic.
How is it possible to kill a creator god with a single blow?
They're only legends, but in every legend or rumor, there's always some truth.
For that reason, I've sent you gods. I want you to continue training as you have done so far. But if you noticed any anomaly, inform us. This is a galactic level threat.
Understood, Kakarot-sama.
Meanwhile, in a very different place, thousands of shadows, negative energy, were around a single being. That's right, it was Micah, who seconds before Kakarot arrived to this place was able to use a three-dimensional change, with which he is able to disappear his ki completely.
That was close. The power of the three-dimensional gods is strong, but the power hidden in that guy is amazing. From what I was able to hear, that guy was able to end Yiki's life.
Mike at that moment would begin to assimilate all the power, which at every moment caused deeper into his sea of energy. Even the dimension where he was, energy spread, which caused stars and also destroyed by excess of energy.
The power of that guy is amazing. Despite only stealing 0.1% of all his power, my body's heavy and hurts. I have to bring my family to finish with those bastards.
Returning to the realm of Whole, all the gods at that moment had moved to each other in the universes, training every day more arduously. Meanwhile, on the planet of Zeno-sama, Kakarot, together with the three-dimensional gods, stayed talking for a few more minutes.
Kakarot, that's your name? I wanted to test your power, and to know if we have a chance against that power that has been felt recently.
Of course we'll fight, and we'll defeat whoever it is. I'll not let my multiverse be destroyed again.
Daishinkan at that moment, with his great power, would create a platform in which only Kakarot and Hades would remain.
You may begin.
At that moment, both subjects had amazing speeds, which were even complicated, for Daishinkan began to connect multiple blows. While exchanging blows, Hades was very confused.
What is this? The power of the past versions of Kakarot is amazing. This power is miserable. There's no point of comparison.
However, as Hades was very distracted in the battle, Kakarot at that moment would increase his power to 100% in the state of Ultra Instinct, connecting thousands of blows, which would make the powerful Hades spit blood.
Those blows hurt me. Are you hiding your true power?
That's right. I don't like to call attention with my power. I always prefer to keep it at rest so that my opponents trust me and finish them quickly.
You're different from all the versions of you that I've known in the past, since they were confident in their power, unlike you, which quickly ends with their enemies.
Hades at that moment, much more serious, would launch against Kakarot, starting to exchange blows, which this time Kakarot received without being able to do anything. However, after 3 minutes of Kakarot not being able to defend himself, he would use a little more of his power, accessing Ultra Phase Instinct 3.
I've rarely used this transformation since I usually access my celestial form.
Do you have much more power than this?
I do, and all this time I've been able to achieve a new transformation, but it'll be used on a worthy opponent.
Kakarot at the moment, at an astonishing speed a no-dimensional god was able to observe, would knock out Hades, the most powerful dimensional god.
I can't believe it! Kakarot was able to defeat Hades!
At that moment, Kakarot would return to Ultra Instinct, which he had taken as his base state. After a few hours, Hades would wake up a little confused.
I seem to have lost. Your power is amazing. I'm not able to assimilate it, but we must still be ready. The power that was felt was from another dimension.
At that moment, the three-dimensional gods would return to each of their poles. Meanwhile, with Micah, he had been able to master all the power that he had stolen, beginning to devise a plan.
First, I need to just test the power of all the destroyer gods to know if they'll be a nuisance or just flies.
At that moment, Micah, with his great negative power, would create a massive dark energy in front of him, from which a few rays would come out. After a few days, a being would come out of such darkness. That's right, Micah had the power and knowledge necessary to create beings based on negativity.
You already know what your objective is. Attack the deities of Universe 7, since as I could investigate, it's the universe to which this subject's more appreciation. Destroy his planet. As you command, my master.
At that moment, the warrior named Draco would leave at great speed to Universe 7, arriving quickly to the planet of the Saiyans Vegeta, beginning to destroy everything around him. At that moment, Broly, Bardock, and the Prince of the Saiyans Vegeta would stand in front of this warrior.
Who the hell are you? Do you want to be exterminated by the Saiyan race?
You don't have enough power to face me.
At that moment, the three warriors rushed against Draco, who would release a little of his power, shaking the entire Universe 7. So much so that Beerus and Whis had felt such a roar. Mr. Beerus!
That's right, Whis. A new being of negative energy has appeared, and I'm sure it's due to that guy.
He is on the planet Vegeta. We must hurry.
While Beerus and Whis were heading at maximum speed to the planet of Vegeta, Draco had been able to give them a beating to the three warriors who had fallen very badly wounded. But Broly at that moment would begin to rise its maximum power. Broly was taking his body and his power beyond its limits. That's right, Broly was increasing his power to the maximum to be able to face that power, which surpassed even Yiki. That's right, when Maiko had absorbed small essences of hundreds of beings from all universes, he had been able to surpass the power of Yiki by millions of times, being so powerful as to create a being with the same power as a creator god. Broly would continue increasing his power to the maximum. And in the same way, thousands of planets were destroyed by a great power of Broly. However, Draco was very calm, as if the power of Broly meant nothing to him. However, at that moment, something incredible would happen. That's right, Broly had been able to access the Ultra Instinct.
In this transformation, I'm not able to raise my power level much more. But let's see what you think of this dam. I'll finish you and I'll defend the planet Vegeta with my life.
At that moment, Broly would launch himself against Draco, who dodged each of his blows without any difficulty. While that, Vegeta and Bardock observed everything that had happened.
Damn it! Broly won't be able to defeat him. The enemy is pressing him every moment with his defense.
Damn it! We better take our chances. Prince Vegeta, you're the most powerful Saiyan on the entire planet of Vegeta.
You're right, Bardock. The only Saiyan above me is your son Kakarot.
I know that if 5 Saiyans give him our power, the Super Saiyan God is reached. But what would happen if this time 50 Saiyans give him all our power?
Vegeta at that moment would be very surprised by what Bardock told him.
I know that I'm very powerful, but I don't know if my body can resist all your power.
Vegeta at that moment would observe how Broly had fallen to the ground badly wounded, and at that moment he had lost the Ultra Instinct. That's right, Broly was in the legendary Super Saiyan, and in the same way would have launched the attack. However, was being humiliated and massacred in an amazing way.
1,000 blades! Demonic sword!
At that moment, hundreds of swords would descend from the sky with the intention of ending the life of Broly. However, at that moment, Beerus and Whis would face those thousands of attacks. That is, Beerus and Whis had increased their power to the maximum.
This planet and all of Universe 7's protected by me. I'll not let you, a being of pure negative energy, destroy it. Well, so you two are the deities of Universe 7. I thought you had much higher power.
Draco, in a matter of seconds, was able to connect some strong blows to both deities, which would fall to the ground very badly injured. At that moment, Beerus would communicate telepathically with the Prince of the Saiyans.
Vegeta, we've heard what Bardock has told you, and we have no other option but to take the risk. Otherwise, this damned one will finish us all off.
That's right, Vegeta. Since it seems that an incredible negative energy has enveloped all the 12 universes, only leaving aside the kingdom of everything. So Kakarot-sama is impossible to feel our powers, and when he realizes it, it'll be too late.
I am the Prince of the Saiyans. I'll be the being that protects all this universe.
At that moment, the power of 50 Saiyans began to enter Vegeta's body, which was bursting with so much power.
I'm able to achieve. I am the great Vegeta!
In that same instant, the gigantic power would be felt by all the 12 universes. That's right, the power of the great Prince of the Saiyans was causing destruction by all the 12 universes. Even being able to crack the Bardock of Draco, at that moment, Vegeta in Super Saiyan Blue would give a powerful scream,
with which his power would increase in an amazing way. And in the same way his hair had changed to white, it would seem that he had mastered the Ultra Instinct, but it was something very different. That's right, in that moment of a great explosion would be observed Vegeta in the transformation of the Omni-God. That's right, Vegeta had been able to transcend to what beyond a king of everything. This is amazing! The symbols that Vegeta has on his forehead only represent one thing. He has been able to surpass the power of an ordinary king of everything.
This is time the Prince of the Saiyans, will be your enemy.
Draco would notice the essence of that Saiyan was releasing, being very surprised due to the pure energy that he was releasing.
I don't know how you got all that power, but now I'll devour you, because your energy will serve to make me more powerful.
Draco and Vegeta at that moment would begin to exchange blows at an incredible speed. That's right, this time neither of the two was behind the other, since this time Vegeta had been able to overcome the power of a creator god in the same way. Meanwhile, in a faraway place, Micah was observing everything that happened, being a little surprised by the power of that Saiyan was releasing. That's right, the power of Vegeta had even called the attention of Micah, the being that was able to end the life of a creator god with a simple one of his hands. The power of the deities of the universe is insignificant, but if that Saiyan is incredible, I can't believe that he's not the god of his universe. This will be a lot of fun. Meanwhile, in the Kingdom of Everything, Goku was very thoughtful talking to Daishinkan. However, he would hear the voice of his father Bardock.
My son, an incredibly powerful being has arrived on the planet. Beerus and Whis have been defeated. At this moment, Prince Vegeta's fighting. Although they are having an even battle, I'll let you know.
Thank you, Father, for letting me know. At this moment, I'll be on the plane of Vegeta in case something gets complicated. Don't worry.
Kakarot-sama, is something wrong?
Why are we not able to feel the power of the other universes?
What do you mean, Kakarot-sama? We're always able to sense any energy, no matter where in the 12 universes they're located.
So you're not aware? My planet's under attack, and Beerus together with Whis have been defeated. Daishinkan at that moment would be very astonished because he didn't know who had the necessary power to defeat the most powerful angel and god of the 12 universes, and above all, not to feel his power. Kakarot and Daishinkan at that moment began to fly at a great speed, but when they wanted to enter the 12 universes, it was impossible. That's right, both had collided against a powerful barrier.
So this is why we're not able to feel the power of the other universes. A being has placed a barrier of pure negative energy.
That won't be enough to stop me. Kakarot at that moment would charge a super powerful blow in which he had destroyed that powerful barrier. But to his surprise, when he hit it, it was in vain. That's right, he had not received any damage. Damn it! I don't have the time for games. You have to be able to withstand 10% of all my power. Divine Dragon! Divine Extension! At that moment, a powerful dragon of a white color would come out of the fist of Kakarot, hitting the barrier directly and managing to make it 1,000 pieces. At that moment, Draco would feel the incredible power of that subject.
This is incredible! His power is of another level. I'll be pulverized quickly if I'm not able to defeat this Saiyan.
Draco and Vegeta at that moment would take the battle much more seriously, with the intention of ending it once and for all. Because Vegeta's body was suffering the side effects of using the power beyond a king of all, while Draco knew that if Kakarot had arrived to the battlefield, would be pulverized in a matter of seconds. However, Kakarot, along with Daishinkan, would arrive at the battlefield. I'll not interfere in your battle. If you're able to defeat Vegeta, you can leave here. Although I doubt you'll be able to defeat him. He carries all the power of the Saiyan race. Vegeta at that moment, much more motivated by Kakarot's, would begin to hit him with a fury of blows, being able to send him to crash to a planet.
Receive this, the destroyers of the great Vegeta!
At that moment, hundreds of energy spheres would fall on Draco, which this time was suffering incredible damage, so much so that he had lost one of his arms by such a bestial attack.
Damn, the power of that wretch is amazing, but I have to be able to defeat him.
Vegeta's power has increased in a beastly way. He's even been able to achieve the transformation with which I was able to defeat Yiki.
You're right, Kakarot-sama, but do you think I'll be able to defeat that guy?
Vegeta will be able to defeat him. His power is gigantic. The only thing that worries me is the regeneration of that guy. His negative energy is amazing.
At that moment, Hades would appear next to Kakarot.
You are right, Kakarot. The negative energy of that guy is very similar to that of the day, but in smaller quantities.
So you have also felt the ki of both of them.
By destroying the barrier, the power of both subjects has spread throughout the multiverses, being able for us dimensional gods to perceive it.
I understand. But tell me, what are dimensional gods like you doing here?
The power that comes from that being can help us know where its creator is, since a clue must give us a clue.
At that moment, an incredible clash of fists for all the universes could be observed. That's right, Vegeta and Draco were giving the last of their energies. At that moment of separating, Draco and Vegeta would launch their maximum powers. However, when Vegeta knew that he had to protect the entire planet Vegeta, he was able to defeat Draco in the clash of powers, being able to turn him into simple dust of the universe. In that same instant, Vegeta would fall to the ground to his base state, and with most of his bones broken due to such excess energy, at that moment Kakarot would approach Vegeta.
You've done excellent, Vegeta. Now you can rest.
At that moment, Kakarot would stretch out one of his hands, being able to make Vegeta's body whole, and energy to be completely restored. The only thing that he needed was to rest. Meanwhile, with Mika, he would start to laugh.
The Saiyans really are incredible beings. But against me, it won't be enough. I'll crush each one of their hopes until I turn them into simple dust.
Mika at that moment would expel an incredible power, which would even leave him surprised.
Being in this dimension, which seems like hell itself, has been incredible, since my power has increased in a very impressive way.
Returning to Kakarot and the others, Kakarot together with Hades were in deep thought. At that moment, Sora and No would arrive as well.
My bad, that's because that guy was able to create warriors at the level of a creator god. No matter how much power we have, he'll be able to pulverize us. Before he creates more warriors with that power, we'll be better to finish with him once and for all.
Nora's right! So one way or another we have to get to that wretch to end his life once and for all.
However, at that moment, thousands of energy spheres would fall on all those present who would realize it in time.
Define Reflector!
At that moment, all the attacks would return to the whole universe.
You don't need to look for me, because very soon, I'll come for each one of you. And no matter what you do, I'll finish with all the divine traces.
At that moment, Mika, despite being in another dimension, was able to wreak havoc throughout the multiverses. That's right, he was able to overcome the chaos of universal to megaversal. Mika has been able to destroy millions of planets with just one attack despite being in another dimension.
Hell, we cannot allow our power to continue to grow, because if it does, we won't be able to destroy that monster.
No, this is unforgivable. This situation must not continue, because if we don't stop him, now we won't be able to do anything against that guy. I agree with Noah. It'll be better to do it now.
But how do we get to this dimension? This will be impossible. Even if we're able to jump between dimensions, we won't be able to reach that guy's dimension. There is a last alternative to reach that dimension, but it'll be to sacrifice the dragon of the dragon spheres of the planet Namek.
I don't like the idea of sacrificing the dragon of the planet Namek, but we have no other option, since we can bring it to life with the Super Dragon Balls. But if that being ends with each one of us, nothing and nobody will be able to stop it.
All the dimensional gods, together with Daishinkan, would quickly head to the planet Namek, quickly summoning the dragon.
Tell me, what is your wish? I can fulfill 3 wishes, as many as you want.
I'm very sorry, but can you teleport us to the dimension where the guy named Meika is located?
Of course I can, but this will use up to the other 2 wishes, and I will still lose my life.
We promise to bring you back to life, because if that guy dominates his power much more, we won't be able to do anything against him. It would be the end of all of us.
Don't worry, I trust you, and it will be an honor to give my life to finish with that guy. If I don't revive, I will be remembered as a legend.
The dragon at that moment would rise all over the place, beginning to channel all his power. At that moment, an attack was making them travel at an amazing speed. However, at that moment, the whole body of the dragon would vanish into nothingness. Meanwhile, in the dimension of Micah, hundreds of shadows were all around, so it is Micah would continue absorbing much more power from all of the beings of the multiverses.
Ha 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 ha! This power is incredible! Nothing and no one will be able to stop me! What the hell is coming?
At that moment, a great roar together with a great light could be seen all over Micah's dimension, leaving him a little surprised.
So it's you! I wasn't ready since I wanted to summon my whole family, but instead I'll have to absorb them. I don't have time to revive them. We won't allow you! You're a monster who must die today! We won't allow you to kill innocent people! Demonic summoning!
At that moment, Draco appeared on the battlefield, but the power he possessed this time was overwhelming. Nothing compared to the Draco that faced Vegeta. Kakarot was trusting, would throw a large sphere of energy, but Draco, with simply one of his hands, would be able to return the attack.
No, I'm not under your power. You won't be able to defeat me as easily as last time.
Ancestors and demonic forbidden family. I, as Micah the King, I ask for your powers to end the whole divine world, the world which mocked us.
A surprising dark power would begin to enter Micah's body, which was filling with overwhelming power. That's right, the power that the entire demonic race was entering his spiritual sea of energy, beginning to charge him immediately.
Oh, this power hurts, but it's a pleasant pain, knowing that I'll finally be able to finish with every divine being that humiliated us in the past.
Meanwhile, Draco and the other warriors, they were having a somewhat easy battle, being very powerful beings and winning in numerical quantity. However, every time I exterminated, he would reappear, being a somewhat annoying being.
So you have already tired me. I'll finish with you the next attack. Die, you damned worm! Megaversal Atomic Destroyer!
An attack from the form of a red dragon would ram them completely, which was disintegrating him little by little, and Draco was not able to do anything.
Now we must stop Micah!
At that moment, the warriors threw themselves against him, but an incredible pressure would be put on them to their knees, even breaking the bone of Daishaken being the weakest of all. Kakarot, with great difficulty, would be able to create a barrier to Daishaken to be able to withstand the pressure a little. Micah at that moment would give a loud scream.
Ah! This power is unbelievable!
Micah had destroyed the whole dimension they were in. That's right, Micah's power had surpassed all limits, even being able to destroy dimensions. At the moment of appearing in the 12 universes, the pressure that she released over all the universes, not letting any being be able to move freely.
What the hell? Why do I feel that my body's so heavy?
I don't know, Mr. Beerus, but the same thing happened to me. I'm not able to move freely.
At that moment, all the gods were able to observe how a great battle occurred in the 12 universes. That's right, the power of the beings that so much was even all the gods were able to observe it. Meanwhile, Daishaken-sama, with his maximum power, was able to reach the realm of everything to report everything that was happening.
Yes, sir. That being has completely awakened, and I don't know if Kakarot-sama, with the help of the dimensional gods, will be able to defeat it.
Gods and angels, this is a maximum alert. All the divine beings will serve as support in this battle.
Zeno-sama at that moment would begin to merge with his guardians, and in the same way was releasing an incredible power, so much so that it would make everything around him rumble, leaving Daishaken-sama very surprised.
I didn't understand that the King of All possessed all that beastly power, but it'll be of great help.
Returning to the battle, even though the dimensional gods used a great part of their powers, they were not able to scratch that being who had surpassed a creator god by hundreds of times.
It will be better for you to resign yourselves. If you swear loyal to me, I can have you as my slaves.
Hades, who had never been humiliated in this way, furious, threw himself against Micah, who, at that moment, would give a big smile and at an incredible speed, was able to give him a blow, which would make him fall back hundreds of meters and fall to a badly wounded planet.
This being's worthy of using all my power.
Kakarot at that moment would begin to increase his power to the maximum. That's right, Kakarot had access to his Omni Transformation, which would leave everyone present surprised by the power that Kakarot was releasing.
Is that the true power of Kakarot? His power is abominable.
I knew you had much more hidden power. Now fight me, as equals we are, since the rest are just flies. Don't trust Micah.
This isn't my full power. I still have one more transformation, but I'm not able to master it 100%.
Micah and Kakarot at that moment launched themselves to the attack. The collisions of their fists were incredible, since their speed had increased even 1,000 times more. At the same time, the beings of the Kingdom of Everything arrived, and also a being that emanated an incredible power. That's right, it was the fusion of all the gods and angels.
The power of Kakarot-sama is amazing. You'll be able to defeat them.
No, Micah's only pressuring him with his defense. The more Kakarot-sama attacks, the more he weakens. On the contrary, Micah's powers has not diminished at all.
Kakarot at that moment was able to hit him with a very powerful blow, which made him fall to the ground very badly wounded.
What did you think of that? Didn't you see it coming?
However, behind Kakarot, a shadow would be created, which would begin to hit Kakarot without him being able to do anything to get out of the beastly attack.
How about the power of beyond a creator god? This is my new technique, Death Slap.
Kakarot's body was being slaughtered by Micah's technique, which was even damaging his whole sea of energy.
We cannot allow Kakarot to fall in combat. Gods, kings, and priests, to attack!
At the moment, all the warriors threw themselves against Micah with the intention of stopping the technique, but it was not possible because they were only a few centimeters away from touching Micah, and incredible pressure would fall on all of them. And without wasting time, Micah in the same way had launched thousands of energy arrows.
With my simple pressure, I was able to break you. You don't have enough power to finish me off. You're a simple worm.
However, at that moment, even though Kakarot was receiving a beating, a much more incredible power would begin to overflow Kakarot's body. And at that moment, the face of a great Ozaru could be seen all over the place. And in the same way, an incredible roar would make all the 12 universes rumble.
What the hell? How is he able to release power if he is being slaughtered by my technique?
At that moment, Kakarot would release an amazing power, neutralizing Micah's technique without any difficulty. At the moment, Kakarot would continue increasing his power much more, accessing the Celestial Super Saiyan 4.
This is my maximum power, but I know that this will not be enough. Ozaru and Zama, I trust you. Give me your power.
At that moment, raised spheres of fire began to be observed all around. In the same way, the beast roar would sound all over the place, making Micah's body shudder.
What's happening to him? I thought he had no more power, but I was completely wrong. Although this will be fun, he doesn't have the power to defeat me.
After a big explosion, Kakarot could be seen with his maximum power, but this time all of his fur was of a golden color. That's right, Kakarot was using the power he was born with, and by increasing his level, the power exploded completely.
I hope you're prepared, because now I won't trust you. I'll finish you once and for all. That won't be possible.
Micah was not able to finish his sentence because he had been sent to fly to a planet. Falling heavily, Micah would recover from the blow, but he was a little dizzy.
How the hell was he able to hit me with that speed? I wasn't able to see anything.
Micah in that moment would recover completely and would increase his power to the maximum. That's right, Micah was determined to end the life of that Saiyan. But at that moment, both began to collide great collisions of their fists and also great bursts of energy.
Receive this! Angelic Cannon!
At that moment, an incredible little would be thrown towards Micah, which in the same way would not stay behind, throwing an amazing power against Kakarot. After only 30 seconds, they would clash. Both attacks had exploded, beginning to exchange blows at an impressive speed.
Damn it, the Master's body is suffering too much. Don't worry, you keep on giving him your stamina, while I grant him the supreme knowledge.
That's right, Kakarot had the support of the supreme legendary Ozaru and the legendary dragon Zama. At that moment, both beings would stare at each other.
You're really a tough guy, but I'll be able to finish you off. I say the same thing, but you lack aggression and power.
Both warriors began with the last clash of their fists, since at that moment, they were both on the verge of death. Micah was able to give him a powerful blow, which would make him fall to the ground a little wounded, but without giving him time to recover, he would charge an amazing power, which would throw him. Kakarot would try to stop him, but the condensed energy was supreme.
All of us, let's give him every drop of our energy at this moment.
At that moment, thousands of energy spheres began to enter Kakarot's body, which at that moment had reached a new power. That's right, Kakarot was only able to take his body to the limit, and that great attack was able to disintegrate him with only 2 fingers, leaving Micah trembling, since that attack possessed a great part of his power.
Who the hell are you? I'm the descendant of the creator god Psyche Bura, and neither you nor anyone else will end this multiverse.
Damn you! You will never be a creator god! You're a simple Saiyan!
I'm the best Saiyan of my race, so you're no match for me.
At that moment, Kakarot with his maximum power would grant him a great blow, making him fall to the planet.
With this attack, I'll end your miserable life. Omnipotent Dragon!
Kakarot would connect an incredible attack on Micah's stomach, and at that moment, an incredible dragon would come out of his hand, finishing with Micah completely. At that moment, Kakarot would return to the Ultra Institute, since the power beyond of a creator god was overwhelming. At that moment, an incredible golden light would appear all over the place, and would begin to take form of a man, which would leave everyone surprised.
Kakarot, I was never wrong in choosing you as my successor. You're a being of great power, and that does not end the lives of innocent beings.
Thank you very much for trusting me, Saikibura-sama.
Saikibura, at that moment, would stretch out one of his hands, returning all the energy to one of the warriors, and likewise to the god's dimensions, would heal them all of their wounds.
How is this possible? I knew this would happen. From now on, Kakarot will be named as the Supreme Omnipotent God. He'd be the maximum authority of all the multiverses. Of course, he'll be our new leader, from whom we'll give our lives if necessary. With the power of that omnipotence offers me, I, Saikibura, I restore all the multiverses, and in the same way I bring to life the dragon of the planet Namek.
At that moment, all the multiverses were completely reconstructed.
Thank you very much for everything, Saikibura-sama.
To you, Kakarot, for changing history once more.
Saikibura at that moment again disappeared in the golden light. At that moment, Zeno-sama approached Kakarot.
Kakarot-sama, tell us, what's your order from now on?
With the end of Micah, all the evil's completely over. I want this peace to last forever.
And so it was that Kakarot, a Saiyan who was born with the power of the legendary Ozaru, and the dragon Zalma had protected all the multiverses, becoming the new supreme omnipotent god. Gogeta floated in the sky, surrounded by the imposing energy of his new form. The stars seemed to pale before the intensity of his blue radiance, as Takagami recovered from the initial impact and adopted a defensive posture.
What kind of transformation is this? This is the power of those who fight for something greater than themselves!
With a flash, Gogeta disappeared, appearing in front of Takagami in the blink of an eye. The clash of their fists created shockwaves that shook the battlefield. Gogeta's speed and strength were unmatched, surpassing even Takagami's ability to anticipate his blows. Gogeta and Takagami exchanged blows and energy blasts at breakneck speed. Each impact resounded like cosmic thunder, creating an epic symphony on planet Earth.
Your attempt to revive your so-called gods ends here, Takagami.
But you're a bug in the face of the greatness of my power.
In an instant, Gogeta unleashed a burst of concentrated energy, enveloping Takagami in a whirlwind of light and force. When the light dissipated, Takagami emerged unharmed, but with a more serious expression.
Interesting, but not enough.
The battle was reaching cosmic levels, with ripples of energy spreading across the far reaches of the universe. Meanwhile, the other Z warriors watched the sky, appreciating Gogeta's great power of display and Takagami's resilience and viciousness. The roar of battle echoed in every corner of the universe. Gogeta and Takagami, wrapped in an endless dance of energy, continued their titanic confrontation. Space twisted and trembled under the influence of their powers, creating distortions itself. Bursts of energy expanded like lightning, illuminating the darkness of the night sky with dazzling flashes. Each blow between the two contenders seemed to release an explosion of energy that spread in concentric waves, setting the frantic pace of the cosmic battle. Away from the battlefield, the others watched in anguish and admiration. Bulma, with a mixture of fear and hope in her eyes, clung to the hope that Gogeta would prevail.
Come on, Gogeta, you must win! For all of us!
Meanwhile, on the battlefield, Gogeta and Takagami continued their fierce exchange. Determination burned in Gogeta's eyes, while Takagami maintained a defiant smile, though his expression hid a growing unease.
This is for the price you pay for defying the peace of the universe!
With a swift movement, Gogeta vanished and reappeared behind Takagami, launching an energy-charged punch straight at his back. But Takagami, anticipating, quickly spun around and blocked the attack with the dark energy shield.
Haha! Is that all you got?
In response, Gogeta intensified his assault, unleashing a continuous flurry of punches and kicks. Each impact resounded like thunder. But Takagami, though outmatched in speed, resisted with his dark power, countering the attacks with deft movements. During the scuttle, Takagami took advantage of the prevalent moment of openness and opened up a launched energy bolt straight for Gogeta's chest. The resulting explosion shook the universe and Gogeta was thrown backwards, leaving a trail of blue energy.
Is that all hope can do?
Gogeta recovered quickly, stood up with determination. The glow of his transformation increased even more.
This is far from over.
The battle continued, leading them again to display an ever-increasing amount of power. In this fury, Gogeta unleashed power that defied the laws of the universe, and Takagami, despite his arrogance, began to show signs of concern. The tension was palpable. The Z Warriors felt the intensity of the confrontation, even when they were a long distance away from where the battle for the future of the planet was taking place. Piccolo was seriously watching, calculating every move and thinking if at some point this battle, which was far from over, would be a favorable outcome. Piccolo, in his thoughts,
Goku, Vegeta, we trust you. You must win this battle.
The battle reached a new climax when Gogeta and Takagami met at an eminent point in the battle. The energy emanated from them, illuminating the vastness of the dark sky, creating a dazzling spectacle of colors and flashes.
You cannot escape darkness. Darkness will never prevail over light.
You're a fool if you think your light can eclipse my power.
Suddenly, a voice echoed in Gogeta's mind, a familiar but distant voice.
Gogeta, do not underestimate your enemy. Truth lies within strength.
The transmission abruptly cut off, leaving Gogeta bewildered. Before he could reflect on it, however, Takagami lunged towards him with surprising speed, unleashing a series of punches and kicks that left Gogeta struggling to keep up. At that moment, a fleeting image flashed through Gogeta's mind. A vision of his loved ones, of his purpose, and the responsibility he carried on his shoulders. The energy of the transformation fanned, and Gogeta, with newfound determination, struck back with renewed ferocity.
This is the limit of your tyranny, Takagami.
The limit's up to you, Gogeta, and your limit is my power.
Suddenly, the sky around him fragmented, and multiple distorted versions of Takagami emerged from the dimensional rifts, each with a malevolent grin.
You cannot defeat me, Gogeta. I am eternal. I'm a god.
You may be powerful, but I'm not alone in this.
The battle reached a new intensity as multiple distorted incarnations of Takagami surrounded Gogeta. Each emanated a dark energy that defied the laws of the universe. The air itself seemed to vibrate with the pressure of their combined presences. At that precise moment, Goku and Vegeta's fusion had come to an end due to the amount of power they had used in order to stand up to Takagami. Goku and Vegeta, although they had returned to their individual forms after the fusion, knew that the key by defeating Takagami lay in perfect unity and coordination.
Vegeta, we're in this together. Let's give all our power to be able to confront him so we can free Yamcha from this so-called god.
Yes, Kakarot, this insect will not defeat us.
The Z Warriors watched in amazement, aware that the fate of the universe hung in the balance. Piccolo analyzed the situation, looking for any weaknesses that could be exploited. The others prepared to act if the opportunity presented itself. Goku and Vegeta, now separated, their fusion as Gogeta, faced Takagami with determination in their eyes. The dark presence of the supposed god loomed over them, but the Saiyans were determined to free Yamcha and put an end to the threat he posed.
Vegeta, we need to coordinate our attacks. We've always been stronger when we fight together.
For once, I agree with you, Kakarot. This insect will pay for what he did.
The two Saiyans lunged towards Takagami, attacking with a combination of punches and ki blasts. Takagami, though powerful, was momentarily overwhelmed by the timing of the two warriors. However, his sinister laugh echoed across the battlefield.
Your union will change nothing. My power is unlimited.
Goku and Vegeta exchanged glances, realizing that the situation was more serious than they had imagined. Takagami unleashed a wave of dark energy that sent them flying, but they quickly recovered, ready to continue the fight. The Z Warriors watched with concern. Gohan, though a bit intimidated by Takagami's power, maintained his unwavering determination. Piccolo, with his keen intelligence, pointed out a possible weakness.
It seems his power is linked to some source. We must find a way to break that connection.
Goten and Trunks, who had arrived along with Gohan, eager to join the battle, looked at their parents with concern. However, Piccolo stopped them.
Guys, we need a plan before we launch into battle. Your strength will be crucial at the right time.
While the Z-Warriors thought of a plan, Goku and Vegeta continued their fierce assault against Takagami. Every time it seemed they were about to defeat him, his power increased and the evil emanating from him intensified.
Ha 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 ha! Your resistance is useless. My power thrives on despair and suffering.
Then we must find a way to change that. Vegeta, we need to attack together, but with a strategy.
You're finally thinking clearly, Kakarot. Let's do it!
The two Saiyans, coordinating their movements, executed a series of synchronized attacks. Although Takagami was defending himself skillfully, he began to show signs of discomfort. The connection between his power and the external source seemed to be faltering. At that instant, Piccolo noticed the opportunity.
Now is the time. Gohan, wait for the opening we'll give you so you can attack. Goten, Trunks, follow me on my signal.
Gohan nodded, conveying a look of confidence to his friends. Goten and Trunks prepared to act on Piccolo's directions.
Everyone, let's send our energies to Goku and Vegeta. We must strengthen their connection and weaken Takagami's source of power.
The Z-Warriors gathered their energies and, with a coordinated effort, sent a stream of ki skyward. Goku and Vegeta, sensing the surge of power, seized the opportunity. They're doing it! Come on, Vegeta! The connection between Goku, Vegeta, and the Z-Warriors created a unique synergy. Energy flowed through them, strengthening their resolve and weakening Takagami's external source of power.
This can't be happening!
The darkness surrounding Takagami began to dissipate, due to the large amount of energy they were receiving from their friends. Piccolo, Gohan, Goten, and Trunks, observing the battle, noticed the opportunity to intervene.
Now, guys, let's go!
Goten and Trunks took flight into the sky where Goku and Vegeta were, joining the fight against Takagami. With the energy of the Z-Warriors strengthening the connection between Goku and Vegeta, the real battle was about to begin. The fusion of powers of the Saiyans between father and son created an explosion of energy that enveloped Takagami. The fight intensified, but now, with hope and determination as their allies, Goku, Vegeta, Goten, and Trunks were ready to face the Dark God and free the universe from his evil domain. The burst of energy that enveloped Takagami reverberated throughout the universe. The fusion of the powers of Goku, Vegeta, and his sons created a symphony of forces, illuminating the sky with a brilliant radiance that defied the darkness Takagami had tried to impose. Takagami, enveloped in the luminescence of the combined energy, struggled to maintain his composure. The connection between his power and the source of his power, Yamcha, was weakening with every second, and his sinister laugh began to turn into growls of frustration. We're making progress, Vegeta!
Yes, but let's not let our guard down. It's not over.
As the Saiyans continued their coordinated offensive, Goten and Trunks and their Super Saiyan forms joined the battle. The pressure on Takagami intensified, as he now faced not only the two adult Saiyans, but also that of his sons. The coordination between them was impressive, and every move was backed by the combined strength of the Z-Warriors. Dad! Vegeta! We're here to help! Let's show this guy that the Saiyan family is unstoppable! The trio of Saiyans, with their different levels of expertise and abilities, formed a united front against Takagami. The battle was getting more and more intense, with bursts of energy and flurries of attacks lighting up space like a celestial spectacle. Piccolo, Gohan, Krillin, and the others channeled their energies to strengthen the connection between the Saiyans and, at the same time, searched for weaknesses in Takagami's defense.
We must keep the pressure on and look for any opportunity to unbalance Takagami.
Dad, Vegeta, Goten, Trunks, we all trust you. Let's defeat this enemy together. In space, the synergy between the Saiyans reached its peak. Goku and Vegeta, with the energy of their sons and the Z-Warriors, fused their attacks in an amazing display of power. Takagami, despite his resistance, began to give ground.
This is not possible! I'm a god! I cannot be defeated!
The connection between his power and the external source was on the verge of collapse. The Saiyans, sensing Takagami's weakness, redoubled their efforts. Goten, Trunks, guided by Piccolo's strategy, attacked from unexpected angles, while Goku and Vegeta continued their frontal assault. Piccolo noticed a key opportunity.
Now, Gohan, it's your time!
Gohan, in his final form ready to take advantage of the opportunity, concentrated his energy and launched himself into the confrontation. With surprising speed, he joined the fight alongside Goku, Vegeta, Goten, and Trunks. "Let's finish this, Dad!" The symphony of energy between the Z Warriors and the Saiyans reached its climax. Takagami, beset on all sides, struggled to stand, and the skies erupted in an explosion of light and darkness as the heroes joined forces to confront the Dark God. The battle reached its climax, and every move decided the fate of the universe. The Z Warriors from Earth watched with eagerness and hope, knowing that victory was within reach, but also aware that the final fight was yet to come. With the Saiyans and the Z Warriors facing Takagami in a cosmic confrontation. However, amidst the chaos of battle, a small distraction allowed Takagami to strike back with furiosity. Goten and Trunks, focused on following Piccolo's strategy, attacked from different angles. However, in a moment of minimal distraction, Takagami seized the opportunity and launched a surprise counterattack. With quick and precise movements, the Dark God managed to evade Goten and Trunks' attacks, countering them with punches and energy blasts.
Ha ha ha! Your efforts are useless, children! I'm the all-consuming darkness!
Goten and Trunks, though agile and powerful, found themselves in a precarious situation. Takagami, with his speed and cunning, left the young Saiyans struggling to keep up. "We have to protect them!"
Takagami's concentration of power is increasing. We need to regroup and find a strategy to counter his moves.
Meanwhile, in the sky, Goten and Trunks, despite the setbacks, continued to fight bravely. They tried to coordinate their attacks, but Takagami's speed and cunning proved to be a formidable challenge. "Trunks, we have to stay focused!" "I know, but this guy's stronger than I imagined!" In an unexpected twist, Takagami launched a blast of dark energy that hit Goten and Trunks, leaving them badly injured. Both Saiyans fell backwards with obvious signs of exhaustion and pain. "Goten! Trunks!"
This damned Dark God!
The adult Saiyans intensified their assault, determined to avenge their momentary fall of their sons. Takagami, however, taking advantage of the confusion and despair that gripped the Z Warriors, rejoiced in his newly strengthened power.
This is how the heroes of the universe give up. They may fight, but in the end, darkness will always prevail.
The result was becoming even more tense. The Z Warriors, though determined, were facing the reality that their fight was far from over. Goten and Trunks, wounded but not defeated, were struggling to recover and rejoin the battle.
We need a new approach. Takagami's strength increases with each passing moment.
"We'll protect Goten and Trunks. We'll not let the darkness prevail." The battle, now more critical than ever, was plunging into a desperate confrontation where the survival of the universe hung in the balance. Gohan, observing the critical situation of his brother Goten and Trunks, could not contain the fury that burned within him. A flash of anger crossed his eyes, and his energy rose to levels that would leave even the most experienced Saiyans dumbfounded. He lunged towards Takagami with shocking speed, ignoring any concern for his own safety. "With this price, you'll pay for hurting my family!" His speed and furiosity impressed everyone on the battlefield. Every blow he delivered carried with it a pent-up rage of a protective brother. Takagami, though initially surprised, adapted to the intensity of Gohan's attacks.
Do you think your anger can stop me?
"I'm going to protect my family and the entire universe from your darkness!" The battle between Gohan and Takagami unleashed an energy storm in space. Goku and Vegeta watched in awe and fear as the conflict reached levels that defied comprehension. Despite their determination, they realized they were facing a power beyond anything they had faced before. "This kid, his power is amazing!"
We can't let Gohan fight alone. We must support him.
As Gohan continued his relentless assault, Takagami showed a significant improvement in his defensive ability. Every blow was met with inhuman prowess. The battle reached a point where the universe itself seemed to be on the verge of collapse. The epic confrontation between Gohan and Takagami pushed the Saiyan warrior to the limit of his abilities.
Despite Gohan's bravery and skill, the Dark God, with unmatched cunning and speed, found an opening in his defense. With a graceful twist, Takagami unleashed a ripping attack, a blast of dark energy that sliced through the air with a malevolent precision. Gohan, surprised by the speed and ferocity of the attack, barely had time to react. The energy wave hit Gohan full on, enveloping him in an explosion of light and darkness. The force of the impact threw Goku's eldest son backwards, causing him to stagger, desperately struggling to stay on his feet. The dark energy left its mark on Gohan's body, marking him with deep, tearing wounds.
Gah! This can't be so strong!
Takagami, with a sinister smile, hovered in the air, observing the result of his devastating attack. The black energy around him seemed to vibrate with satisfaction as Gohan tried to recover.
This is the power you praise so much? You're no match for me, Gohan.
Goku and Vegeta, witnessing the scene from a distance, gritted their teeth helplessly. The situation was becoming more critical with each passing moment. Goten and Trunks, still injured but recovering, were prepared to rejoin the fight.
Gohan! This damned, we can't let this continue.
Goten and Trunks, sensing the urgency of the situation, approached Gohan to help him. Despite his own injuries, determination shone in his eyes.
Brother, are you alright? Yes, but we need a new approach. We're not going to let this guy get away with this.
Meanwhile, Piccolo and the other Z Warriors were also assessing the situation, looking for any opportunity to change the course of the battle. The pressure on them was mounting, and the need to find an effective strategy was becoming more apparent.
We have to work together. Gohan, can you keep fighting?
Gohan nodded, ignoring the pain coursing through his body. His determination had not dulled, on the contrary. Takagami's imminent threat stoked it.
I can't give up, but we need a strategy, something that could surprise him.
Surprise him, you say?
As the Z Warriors immersed themselves in strategy to counter Takagami, a small distraction took over the battlefield. Goten and Trunks, aware of the need of a different approach, exchanged determined glances. Without saying a word, they assumed the familiar fusion dance stance. The other warriors, immersed in their tactics, barely noticed the sudden disappearance of Goten and Trunks as they performed the fusion. The energy around them condensed into a brilliant flash that revealed Gotenks, Super Saiyan, the powerful fusion of the two young Saiyans.
Ready to give this guy a surprise!
With impressive speed, Gotenks launched himself towards Takagami, who was momentarily startled by the new presence on the battlefield. Gotenks, with his characteristic air of self-sufficiency, began to unleash a series of swift and agile attacks, challenging the Dark God with renewed energy.
Here I come!
Takagami, however, far from being intimidated, smiled sinisterly. With a casual gesture, he deflected Gotenks' attacks as if toying with him.
Is that all you've got, you little fused insect?
Gotenks persisted, intensifying his attacks, trying to find an opening in Takagami's defense. However, the Dark God, with a graceful move, countered each blow with ease.
Come on! It can't be!
In the moment of distraction, Takagami took advantage of the situation. With impressive speed, he launched a blast of dark energy that enveloped Gotenks before he could react. The resulting explosion threw Gotenks backwards, knocking him to the ground unconscious and disfigured.
Gotenks!
This is worse than we thought.
Takagami, now more confident of his superiority, hovered in the air, glaring at the defeated warriors. Goten and Trunks, still unconscious, lay on the ground as Takagami revealed in his moment of victory.
Ha 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 ha! Is this all you offer, Z Warriors? Your desperation only increases my power.
With the outlook darkened by Gotenks' momentary defeat, attention turned to Gohan, who, badly wounded but driven by an inner strength, began to radiate intense energy. The pain in his body seemed to fuel his determination, and a wild golden glow enveloped as his ki reached never-before-seen levels. In the blink of an eye, Gohan transformed into Super Saiyan Phase 3, a form of awesome power that surprised even Takagami. Gohan's hair grew out of control, his muscles swelled, and his expression reflected a mixture of pain and fierce determination.
What is this? A new trick?
Gohan, with a wild roar, launched himself towards Takagami with shocking speed. The force of his blows and the intensity of his attacks shook the battlefield, creating a storm of energy around him. The conflict between light and darkness took on a new dimension as Gohan challenged the limits of his own power.
You're going to pay for what you've done!